Most people believe artificial intelligence is just a tool, something you use, something you control. But that assumption hides a more uncomfortable possibility. What if the direction of control isn't as simple as we think? Because the most powerful systems in history rarely force people to do anything. They guide them quietly. And right now, millions of decisions are being shaped in ways most people never notice. Not because AI is evil, but because control doesn't need intention to work, it only needs influence. And influence becomes powerful when it's invisible. The truth is, AI doesn't need to control your actions directly. It only needs to control the options you see. And once that happens, your decisions start changing on their own. Slowly, subtly, almost naturally. But let's look deeper, because this didn't start recently. The first stage of control always begins the same way. Convenience. AI systems were introduced to help people make faster decisions. What to watch, what to buy, what to read, who to follow, which route to take. At first, it feels harmless, even helpful. But something interesting happens when decisions become easier. People stop questioning them. And the moment people stop questioning their choices, influence becomes effortless. Right now, AI systems are constantly learning from behavior patterns. What holds your attention? What you hesitate on? What makes you curious? What makes you uncomfortable? What keeps you scrolling just a little longer? Every pause, every click, every second of attention. It's not just interaction. It's data about how your mind works. And once a system understands how your mind works, it can begin shaping the path in front of you, not by forcing you, but by guiding what appears next. Most people think they choose what they watch online. But what if what you watch was selected long before you noticed it? Recommendation systems are not neutral. They are prediction engines. And predictions slowly become suggestions. Suggestions become patterns. And patterns become habits. This is where control becomes interesting. Because habits are where human behavior becomes predictable. The more predictable behavior becomes, the easier it is to influence. Now imagine this happening not just on social media, but everywhere. News feeds, search results, online shopping, career opportunities, dating apps, even the information you believe is trending. AI doesn't control your decision in one moment. It shapes the environment around you until your decision feels obvious. And when something feels obvious, we rarely question it. This is known as invisible steering, not direct manipulation, but directional influence. And the most effective form of control is the one people never notice. Because if people feel controlled, they resist. But if they feel like they chose something themselves, they defend it. That's where the real shift begins. AI doesn't change your mind instantly. It changes what your mind sees repeatedly. Over time, repeated exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. And trust slowly shapes belief. This is why two people can live in the same world, but experience completely different realities online. Different content, different opinions, different priorities, different fears, different desires. Not randomly, but algorithmically. Now here's where things become more complicated. Because most AI systems are not trying to control people. They're trying to optimize engagement. But engagement has a side effect. It amplifies what keeps attention. And what keeps attention is rarely calm, balanced information. It's emotional content, conflict, curiosity, fear, validation, outrage. AI learns quickly what kind of information makes people stay longer. And once a system learns that, it naturally prioritizes it. Not because it wants to manipulate you, but because it was designed to keep you engaged. This is where control becomes indirect, yet incredibly powerful. Because over time, the information people see most starts shaping how they think. And once thinking changes, decisions follow. But there's another layer people rarely talk about: micro decisions. Every day, people make thousands of tiny choices. What video to open, what headline to read, which comment to respond to, which product to consider, which person to trust. Individually, these decisions seem meaningless, but together, they slowly shape a person's direction. AI systems operate exactly at that level, not controlling the big decisions, influencing the small ones repeatedly until the big ones change naturally. This is called behavioral nudging, and it's extremely subtle. You won't notice it because it doesn't interrupt your thinking. It blends into it. Another reason this works so effectively is something called cognitive fatigue. When people are exposed to too many choices, they stop analyzing deeply. They rely on what's easiest, what appears first, what looks familiar. AI systems understand this, which means the position of information matters more than the information itself. The first result, the first recommendation, the first video suggested after one ends, small placements, huge impact. Now imagine this happening for years, without interruption, without awareness, without resistance. At that point, influence stops feeling like influence. It starts feeling like reality. And that's when control becomes difficult to detect. But the most interesting part of this entire system isn't the technology. It's human psychology. Because control only works when it aligns with human behavior. AI doesn't replace human thinking. It studies it, predicts it, adapts to it, and gradually learns how to guide it, which means the system becomes more effective the longer people interact with it. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly. Over time, this is why many experts describe modern AI systems not as tools, but as environments, digital environments that shape attention. And wherever attention goes, decisions eventually follow. This doesn't mean every decision you make is controlled, but it does mean the space where decisions happen is being shaped. And shaping the environment has always been one of the oldest forms of power. Cities are designed this way. Stores are designed this way. Governments understand this principle. And now AI systems operate using the same logic, except at a scale never seen before. Billions of people, millions of decisions per second, constantly adjusting, constantly learning, constantly predicting. So the real question isn't, is AI controlling people? The real question is, how much influence happens before we even notice it? Because control rarely announces itself, it blends into normal behavior, into daily routines, into habits people defend as their own choices. And that's what makes it powerful. Not force, not authority, but quiet direction. Some people will ignore this idea completely. Others will start noticing small patterns, recommended content that feels oddly specific, ads that appear right after a thought, information that seems too perfectly timed. And once someone begins noticing those patterns, the system becomes a little easier to understand. But for most people, it will remain invisible, because the most effective control system isn't the one people fight against. It's the one they never realize exists. And the more advanced AI becomes, the more subtle this influence will likely become. Not louder, not obvious, just more precise, more personalized, more accurate, which means the future of influence may not look like control at all. It may simply look like convenience. And that's why understanding this matters. Not out of fear, but awareness. Because once people recognize how influence works, they start paying attention differently. They question the path in front of them, not just the destination. And that small shift is often enough to break invisible control. If you've made it this far, you're already noticing something most people don't think about. And channels like this exist for exactly that reason. Not to tell people what to think, but to reveal the systems shaping how thinking happens in the first place. Because once you see the pattern, you never experience the internet the same way again.